Towards the game, combo collector and Fesu. Only one book hit 5 figures this week. Welcome to the top 10 highest CGC comic books sold on eBay, August 2nd to August 8th. Comic number 10 with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle issue 1. This is third print, season 9.8. It got 6 covers on it. Very rare to have 6 covers on a book. It sold for $7,500. So let's take a look at this book right here. Unfortunately, the person that took the picture, it's not really that legible, but you can tell. So you can barely say maybe 8.5, 9.8, 9.8, 9.8 on these covers there. But let's go ahead and take over the Heritage. This only just have one cover. This is a third printing, and this one sold for $8,400. And this was back in May 2022. And then we have 9.8 third printing, so $4,920 back in September 2022 there. Comic number 9, Invisible issue 1, grade CC 9.8, first printing. This one came out in 2003. Asking price was $8,000, but it's actually sold for $7,600. So let's take a look at what the last couple Invisibles sold on eBay. So let's go down here. We have one sold at an auction back in July 21 for $8,200. And then we have one sold for July 1st, probably around $7,800. So look like this look like a $8,000 book to me though. That's a good story and a good TV show on Amazon. If you haven't watched this yet, so you might want to check it out on Amazon Prime. Comic number 8, Incredible Hulk issue 1, grade CZ 1.0, origin first appearance of the Incredible Hulk. This one came in 1962. Asking and sold price was a little bit less than $8,000. So let's go over to Heritage. Over Heritage, we have a 1.0 right here. And then this book sold as high as $7,800. So that's an increase of $200. This was back in April 2025. And then let's swing one over right here. We have one sold for $5,640 back in March 2025. I mean, you can tell the covers now is nicer as this one right here on the left. All right, let's do one more right here. And then 1.0 right here. And this one sold for $5,520 back in April 2020. Comic number 7, X-Men issue 1. This one came in 1963. Grade CZ 3.0. It's got the standing signature. First appearance of the X-Men team. Asking price was $9,500, but it's actually sold for $8,000. So let's go over to Heritage. Over Heritage, we have a 3.0 right here, a yellow label right here. And this book sold high $9,000. So that's a decrease of $1,000. This was back in February 2025. And then let's go over right here. And then Stanley Signature Series. Sold for $6,600 back in November 2020. Comic number 6, Uncanny X-Men issue 1, grade CZ 5.0, restored copy. I'm not quite sure you can see it. It's a purple label right there. Got 10 off-white pages. I'm not quite sure what it's sold for, but let's just say it's sold for $8,094.57. I couldn't have my sources. I can't find it on my sources I have. So let's go over to Heritage. So we do have the purple label right here, 5.0, and this one sold as high $9,600. So that's a decrease of $1,505. This is back in July 2022. And then let's go one more right here, and then 5.0 right here. $5,040 back in May 2023. Comic number 5, Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Issue number 1, grade season 9.0. This one came in 1970. Asking price was a little less than $11,000, but that's sold for $9,250. So let's go to Go Collect. Go Collect, we have a 9.0 right here. Unfortunately, not many data right here. So not a very common book. And then go right here. This was the one that was just sold on eBay. now to 2050. And so last time one of these books was sold, it was sold for $2,151. So that's an increase of $7,099. This was back in July 2015 there. All right, so coming number 4, X-Men issue 1, Signature Series, signed by Stan Lee, Silver Age book. This one came in 1963, grade CZ 4.0 SS. You see the Stan Lee signature right there. The final auction rate was $9,655 with 40-some bits. So let's go over to Go Collect. Go Collect right here. Let's go here. Signature 4.0 right here. Not too many data right here. All have the same number right here. And then let's go here. So last time this book's the highest so far is $18,600. So that's a decrease of $8,945. This is back in September 2021. And after this book, the one sold for $10,300 back in September 2023. And then that one for $13,000 back in January 2025. And then this was the one that was just sold on eBay right here. Coming up for you, John's Eye X-Men issue 1, grade CZ 9.6, high-end MCU Grail book. For its new appearance of the X-Men team, we got Wolverine, Colossus, Storm, Nightcrawler. The asking and sold price of $9,844. So let's go over to Go Collect. Go Collect, we have a 9.6 right here. And then this book sold as high $28,555. So that's a decrease of $18,711. And then you look right here, the high $13,420 in 1 year, low $6,700. And this was the one that just sold on eBay, $9,844. Okay, let's go over the chart right here. Okay, the one that sold for $20,555 was back in June of 2021 there. Coming number 2, DC Comics, Batman issue 227. This one came in 1970. 9.6 signed and sketched by Neil Adam. Asking price was $14,499, but that's sold for $9,999. So let's go over to Go Collect. Go Collect, we have a Signature 9.6 right here. And then this was the one that was just sold on eBay. Okay, and then it seems like the high is $11,000 and the low about $10,000. Let's go over to so the one that was sold for $11,000 was back in July of 2026 there. So that is a decrease of $1,001 there. And then time before that, let's see here, there's one sold for $9,300 back in September 2022, and then time before that, $5,100 back in January 2021 there. Come number 1 for this week, my only book that's hit 5 figures for this week. Daredevil issue 1. This one came in 1964 by Marvel Comics. Grade CZ 8.5. First appearance on the origin of Daredevil. Asking price was $12,500, but that's sold for $11,500. So let's go over to Heritage. Over Heritage, we have 8.5 right here. And then this book sold as high $26,400. So that's a decrease of $14,900 back in September 2021. Let's do one right here. We have one sold for $23,400 back in April 2021. And then let's do one more. And one sold for $22,800 back in November 2021. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the content. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.